Kangaroos can and will beat you up. That's right, just because it's not venomous doesn't mean it can't knock you on your ass. And Australia's most iconic marsupial can do just that. Because they are way bigger than you think they are. With our biggest species of roo coming in at a ridiculous 2.8 meters in length. And with the iconic hop, they've got a vertical jump of 3 meters. I mean, honestly, with a stat spread like that, they don't belong in the outback, they belong on a f***ing NBA court. As if that wasn't enough, they're also built like tanks, weighing in at a full 90 kilos of roid-raging rabbit muscle, and being able to move way faster than anything that heavy has any right to, pegging the speedo at a max of 70k an hour. Meaning if you make them angry, a juiced up rat the size of a small car is going to run your ass down and beat the f***ing brakes off you. And I'm not kidding when I say they really will rock your shit, because roos are professional kickboxers, with males routinely fighting MMA to win female attention. When they fight, kangaroos will lean back on their tails as a stabilizer and immediately start scratching and kicking the ever-loving shit out of one another. And those kicks have enough force to crack bone. And as if getting drop-kicked by a muscled marsupial wasn't bad enough, they also for some reason have the same bite force as a grizzly bear, because why not? Now, even with all of this, there are still animals stupid enough to view a roo as lunch, which brings me to the most terrifying thing that they do. When threatened, kangaroos will hop into a body of water and wait for whatever is chasing them to follow them in. Once the predator enters the water, the kangaroo will wrap its arms around their neck and just straight up drown them. What the man? I share a country with psychopathic tren rats. Oh! This bear was actually a soldier. But how? You see, it was 1942, and the 22nd Polish Artillery Company were passing through the mountains of Iran, on their way to the front lines to fight the Nazis. While passing through a town on their way, they were stopped by a young Iranian shepherd, looking to trade with them for rations and a Swiss Army knife. When the Poles asked what he had to offer in return, the young shepherd produced a burlap sack containing an orphaned Syrian brown bear cub. You see, this bear's mother was shot by hunters, which is how he ended up in a low-tech Pokeball being offered as a trade deal. The Polish looked at the bear and, clearly seeing the potential for insane dad lore, said, "Damn good deal." And in the most worthwhile trade deal in history, parted ways with their supplies in exchange for a f***ing Pokemon, adopting him into their ranks and naming him Voytech. And the 22nd immediately set about raising this little man as a proper bear and soldier. Maggots! As a baby, they would feed him condensed milk out of an empty vodka bottle, as well as feeding him on the cartoon bear diet consisting of fruit, honey, and marmalade. They also appointed a soldier as his caretaker, who wasted no time in showing Voytech how to fit in with the rest of the army, teaching Yogi's little cousin to wave, salute, and even march. While not undergoing rigorous military training, Voytech would hang out with the soldiers. He drank coffee with them in the morning, trained with them in the day, and when they all got shit-faced in the evening, he would f***ing wrestle with them. Do you know how much a brown bear has to love you to wrestle you? On top of double rations, they would also feed Voytech treats in the form of beer and cigarettes. They let the bear have smoko. Eventually, Army High Command heard about this and were having absolutely none of it. You see, pets were not allowed in the army, which meant Voytech had to go. Or did he? Because the 22nd Artillery Company officially enlisted him.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
Voytech was given a serial number and granted the rank of private, so when confronted about the very conspicuous bear in their ranks, they simply went, "That's not a bear, that's Private Voytech." And Voytech took his new role very seriously, as during the Battle of Monte Cassino in 1944, Voytech began using his bulk to transport artillery shells and ammo to soldiers engaged in combat. They had a fucking resupply bear. For his bravery, he was promoted to the rank of corporal, and the 22nd changed their insignia to a bear carrying an artillery shell. This absolute unit smoked, drank, and dropped artillery on the Nazis. Based. Who wins? 100 men or one gorilla? Well, to get your answer, we're going to have to look at our fighters for the most anticipated cage match of 2025. And in the red corner, standing at an impressive 6 feet tall and weighing a ridiculous 220 kilos, we have one singular silverback gorilla. Stepping into the ring to settle the score against humanity for what we did to Harambe, this fighter is bringing some impressive physical strength, capable of lifting up to 800 kilos of weight, meaning that if it gets its hands on you, a gorilla is more than capable of picking you up and doing you the same way that Hulk did Loki. Now, on top of being stronger than Eddie Hall, they also have an unreal reach advantage with a 2.6 meter wingspan, which is a fairly major problem because a right hook from a gorilla produces 2,700 pounds of force. To put that into perspective, the human skull shatters at 1,400. So if Winston hits you with a haymaker, your head is gonna pop like a watermelon. And with the cage fight following the Mortal Kombat rule set, we can also factor in the gorilla's bite, because despite being a pretty gentle herbivore in the wild, they have one of the highest bite forces on the planet at 1,300 psi. That is 100 psi more than a polar bear. And now, with our fighter statistics out of the way, let's get down to business. Can our gorilla win a fight against the 100 average men in the blue corner? Place your bets. Let's see who comes out on top. Yeah, look, I'm going to keep it real with you. Even with those stats, Winston here is getting bodied. I'm sorry, he's going back to the spawn room. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200 directly to hanging out with Harambe in heaven. 100 people, it's just too fucking many. He's getting jumped. However, not to say he's not going to take a few with him. My guess is one guy runs up and gets swatted across the cage like a toddler, shatters his ribs against the bars. Second guy gets grabbed by the leg and given the Hulk treatment. About 6 other guys cop swings to the head and die instantly from broken necks. One dumbass is probably going to try to hit him off the top rope and get done the same way that Omni-Man did Nightwing. But at that point, the crowd probably jumps in and realizes that there are still about 90 of them and it's over. Not that the fight even needs to happen, but it wouldn't be the first time we lost a gorilla to human stupidity. A gorilla can't beat 100 men in a fight. He gets jumped. But that begs the question, which animal does win? And the answer, stepping into the ring at 5 meters long and weighing in at a genuinely frightening 4,500 kilos, I present to you the hippopotamus. Yeah, look, a hippo causing a 100-long line at the gates of heaven after a fight is honestly pretty plausible. You see, despite the fantastic PR work Moodang has done for the hippopotamus community, doesn't change the fact that Moto here is a sentient Ford F-150, the temperament of a fucking serial killer who can win this fight for one very specific reason. You can't fucking hurt it. Yeah! You say the hippopotamus is possibly the tankiest land animal on the fucking planet, packing an unbelievably thick 2-inch hide. Now look, we all know 2 inches is a lot, especially in the sheets, but in the streets of the African savannah, this makes them practically Don't believe me? Here is a hippopotamus walking away from 10 lions trying to convert it into a family meal. Notice how the hippopotamus does not give a single fuck. If Mufasa and his extended family can't hurt it, neither can you. However, don't let the fact that it's walking away fool you here. The hippopotamus is not a peaceful animal. They are, in fact, violent, psychopathic, 4.5-ton thundercats that can and will bite you in half. A hippo's jaw produces 2,000 psi of pure crushing force. So if he catches your ass, you are the watermelon. And as if the hydraulic press wasn't bad enough, don't forget they've got two 20-inch fangs in that mouth that'll put a hole in you big enough to stick your f***ing arm through. But honestly, the bite doesn't even f***ing matter. It weighs 4.5 tons and can run at 30k an hour. Getting hit by a charging hippo is like getting hit by a f***ing bus. There is no way we are winning a fight against something that could probably take out 10 people just by rolling over. In summary, don't f*** with the hungry hippo. This bird can straight hit you with a Mortal Kombat fatality.
Finish him!
Introducing the Cassowary, a species of ratite native to the land down under. And for once, guys, it's not venomous. Can still flatline you though, and I'm going to tell you how. You see, these neon chickens belong to the same family of birds as the emu, and as such share their impressive size, coming in at a solid 79 kilos and growing up to 6 feet tall, meaning the short kings in my audience could, in theory, mount these things like a chocobo. But what makes them stick out from emus? Well, you see, the Cassowary is basically a spec ops emu, being twice the weight, highly territorial, and most importantly, coming with a combat knife strapped to their foot. That's right, this is a Cassowary claw, and it's the reason they can hit you with a fighting game finisher. You see, these claws are a full 5 inches long. And you know what I mean? Honestly, 5 inches, way too big for anything, and especially for something that's going inside me. And if you anger the tactical assault turkey, that is exactly what you're gonna get, as their go-to defense method is to kick you square in the gut with that kitchen knife and attempt to disembowel you. And I mean, even if the kick doesn't put your insides on the outsides, that kick is still going to send you flying, which can cause some fairly major problems. Problems like the incident that occurred in 2012, where you not, a Cassowary ran up behind a random tourist, hit the heavy attack button, and kicked the guy down a small cliff into the ocean. I mean, luckily he survived, but the fact that I live in a country where at any point I could be hit with a sneak attack by a kaiju turkey is terrifying.